Morning, everyone. Sorry about the late start. A little bit of technical difficulties. All right, let's kick it off. Okay, Friday session, S&P, kind of a big downward spike there at the very end of the day. We actually dropped dropped down to test 1850 on the S&P. And then spiked back up, and we actually got in positive territory by about 5 points. But interesting that the way we kind of pulled back there at the end of the day, and it was a vicious pullback there at the end. We had some GDP data that showed that just still slightly less than impressive data out of the States, but everyone's still blaming everything on the weather, so you're not sure how much of a gauge that you're getting out of it. Obviously, the big story at the moment is the heightened issues in Ukraine with the Russian occupation of the Crimea region, and that's kind of dominating every single headline at the moment. A lot of what I've read, a lot of people calling it the worst international political event since 9/11, and so I think there's going to be a lot of focus on this the next day or two. I think what we want to look for is really any heightened jargon out of, between Russia and, some of the international powers, maybe U.S., Canada, U.K., France, all of those guys that are kind of, talking about it a lot. And so we're going to go from there. Otherwise, we may see a bit of a shakeout. I do think the market's kind of been looking for an excuse to sell off. Is this going to be it, or is this going to be, the trap that'll get guys caught short, and no one will actually really sell on that? We'll have to wait and see if it plays out. But I think, moving forward, we must proceed with a little bit of caution because of those reasons. Also, over the weekend, we had Chinese PMI numbers on Friday, and then we had HSBC PMI numbers today, both more or less in line, but the lowest numbers in 8 months, adding fuel to the fire that China's got problems. Material were under serious pressure on Friday. This morning in the Asian session, and we're the worst performers on the day. So just keep that in mind going into our session. And Japan obviously took the biggest knock overnight, with the yen rallying to its best levels in a couple months, I think, not only on the risk aversion but also on their inflation numbers. All right, this morning we've got a bunch of stocks going to ex-div. We've got Billiton at 66 US cents. Work that out. Assor at 4 Rand 50. Woolies at 1 Rand 1 cent. And GFI at 22 cents. All right, market data out today. We got a lot of PMI across the globe. As you can see there, we have the Chinese numbers. We just talked about those. We got Italian, French, German. We've got local. We've got European, the entire European region as a group, and then we've got the UK numbers, and then later in the States we even get the US ones. So outside of that, we've got mortgage apps in the UK, and we've got personal income, personal spending in the ISM manufacturing numbers in the States as well. All right, just throughout this week, we are going to have a relatively big week of data, and a lot of reporting that's also going to go on. So tomorrow we've got FirstRand, and we've got Glencore, as well as Tencent. Obviously, Tencent is going to have huge implications on Naspers. On Wednesday, we're going to have Steinhoff. We've got MTN, and we've got MMIs, and then we've also got the Fed's Beige Book that's going to be released. And Thursday, we've got Sunlum, RMH, RMI, Exaro, Standard Bank, and Aspen. So Thursday, a really heavy day. And then also on that day, we've got the BOE and the ECB with rate decisions. And then Friday, we've got ARIs. And then we've got a lot of stocks that are going to go ex-divvy over the weekend, including BTI, Kumba with a huge divvy at 20 Rand, Siboney with another big divvy at 75 cents, Trueworths, and Life Healthcare with a special. So, and then U.S. non-farm payroll. So this is really a big week, not only internationally with the data points, but here locally as well with earnings. So keep that in mind. Heightened volatility for the week. No need to hit home runs. There's going to be a lot of singles around. All right. First one we're going to jump into on the mats is All Mutual. All Mutual popping to a new all-time closing high on the back of earnings on Friday, and really probably not so much the earnings, more the announcement that they are going to IPO their U.S. business. It really got things going. I think we can be looking at a significantly higher target here, up to the 37-38 region. Right, and let's look at ShopRite. There's a couple of these retailers that are kind of setting up to do something here over the next little while. I'll just take this back. I'll run it actually here to this wick, which doesn't really make that much sense because we're cutting that wick out. But bottom line is you can really see a definitive trend line there. And we're already kind of pushing against it. This thing's just been such a tight downward spiral, as you can see there. And we're kind of pushing up against the resistance levels. I would call it one. I would only say it's safe once we get about 142. And remember, 142 is also where we dropped out here. So 142 to me is definitely the level and ShopRite where I'd be looking. I'll zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see that a touch better. But 142, we're definitely going to want to see you get above 142 to be out of this downtrend and to be up above some sort of resistance. If that happens, I think it's probably more or less getting closer to the right time. You saw Whitey Basson and Christophe Issa, jumping in the market and swallowing up some decent shares over the past little while that they reported on Friday. I think that got this thing going on Friday afternoon a little bit, and it'll probably have momentum because when those guys have come into the market, they've been their timing's been spectacular over the years. All right, next one is Massmart, which really popped up out of trend resistance as well. Same sort of thing, very, very definitive trend line. And you can see there we very clearly popped out the top of that on Friday as well. So there's a couple of these retailers that seem to be finding bottoms here. If we look at Woolies, we also kind of popped up above resistance here, and now kind of consolidating and base building maybe between 62, call it 63 and 64. If we go back a little bit further, I think that in terms of running a closing basis there, 64 is a level going back over to July and August of last year. Obviously, they're paying a divvy out today, so we'll probably come down toward the lower end of this consolidation range in the morning. But I think if we can hold at 63, I think it's very important. And Woolies kind of at a little bit of an ugly, even inverse head and shoulders there as well. All right, we're going to look at INP, Investec. This one's just been such a freaking star performer here and just looks like it wants to go higher. And we really, after we popped up out of the 78 range, we pulled back and we tested it 1, 2, 3 days in a row. Today we may test it again. But I think it's so long as we, right now it just feels like it's consolidating to break higher and really kind of almost just flagging out to the right to make a move to the upside in Investec. Barlow's as well. Barlow's has just been incredibly resilient. This thing, you can see here, the pullbacks get smaller and smaller and smaller every friggin' day. Up above about 108.50, 109, call it. I think we've actually got to get to classify it as a proper breakout here. But beautiful, upward sloping triangle or ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it, looking ready to make a move higher if we get above 109. And then the last one we'll show is Discovery, which we had kind of been showing a bunch before, but really, let's zoom in a little bit on it. Really just put in a massive, or not massive, several days of consolidation. But the thing is just such a tight little range, and we finally popped up out of that more or less on Friday. I would look for confirmation maybe above the 80 rand level. If we can get above 80, then I think this thing can probably finally get its move going to the upside somewhat soon. And also, obviously, breaking above this the neckline of the head and shoulder pattern and within the same move. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.